Branch, without question, another player that you have one guy and then the rest. And this might be the biggest separation of them all because Branch is going to be the only guy in this group that's going to get drafted in the first round, right?
Yeah. I don't see any of these guys. I mean, I personally like Jartavius Martin from Illinois, but I don't believe he's going in the first round. So, I mean, you might see Branch go top 15 and then not see another safety drafted for another 20 to 30 picks.
Yeah. So, is your grade similar, or because it appeared to me that you're a little bit higher on him? I don't know if anybody else would consider him as a top 10 potential candidate. You say that's possible. So you like him a little bit more?
I like him a little bit more than the market, I would say. I think what's concerning for some is that if you look at him on paper and not on tape, he's under 6 feet. He ran a 4.58. Didn't jump out of the building. Agility solid. What I personally like about him is that I think every good defense has this guy. The guy that can play safety, he can play nickel, he can play outside, he can play both safety spots, and he contributes on special teams. And he's probably one of your best defensive back run defender. He's not Minkah Fitzpatrick, but he is similar. I don't think he's going to be on that all-pro caliber level, but I think he could be a Pro Bowl talent that if you put him into the right situation, right role, and he's going to make a difference. The long speed, it did show up a couple times. He did get beat deep a couple times. So maybe he's not the center fielder that you want. Maybe you don't want him in man coverage against receivers, and then you think that size won't hold up against tight ends. There's a few things that you might not like about that, and I can understand it. But he's a football player. I think there's a chew glass, blue-collar, smart football player that's going to deliver dependable results week to week.
Well, you see, that's why I think he'd be best placed like on a team like the Jets. And again, I drafted him in our mock draft because I'm not putting him in deep patrol. I'm putting him in the middle and, in that area where I'm trying to match him up with the right guys and trying to, use his abilities the best way that I can, whether it's matching up, whatever. And I just, that especially when you're looking for that, especially with a team like the Jets that pretty much will run just two linebackers, he would be the perfect extra guy. And there are other teams. So any team that runs the two linebackers and the 5 DBs, I think that's where Branch fits the best.
Yeah, I agree with you. A lot of defensive coaches talk like this, and some of them do it way better than others. But you really do want to go week to week and have the personnel and the scheme to change your approach week to week based on your opponent. That's what the best teams do. If you really go a deep dive on schemes in the NFL, very few do the same thing week to week. It's like, hey, this team is weak here. And you need that one guy that can play this role this week, the role that another role the different week. You don't want to have different guys coming in and out of the starting lineup every week. That's what Branch brings you.
All right. So do you like Martin by himself, or do you go two to where?
I do like Martin by himself. I think it's Branch tier 1, Martin tier 2. I'm taking a little bit of a chance on Martin. I just love, it's almost like Branch. He's got outside corner experience. He's got nickel. He's got deep safety experience. Unbelievable athlete. Might be the best athlete of all the safeties in this group. Actually tore it up at the combine. And he's the best tackler too. This guy does not miss tackles. And some teams, I don't even know if some teams like that, how much they value that, but I value it a lot. Hit the style in which he plays at 194 pounds scares me a little bit. Is he going to hold up over the course of the season? But that Illinois defense was so good to watch, and everyone's giving all the attention to Witherspoon. When I watched them for the first time, it was the two safeties that got my attention first.
Yeah, that's boy, they're going to miss those 3 DBs at Illinois last year are now gone.
Big time.
So that's all right. And anyway, so that next group, battle to what? To where?
So then I would say you got battle to JL Skinner.
Okay.
So basically 3 through 7 are kind of grouped and clustered together. Some people in the league are going to like Jair Brown. 2022 wasn't as good as 2021 in terms of his tape, but he's a playmaker. Ran a lot slower than we thought he would, and it almost makes you respect his instincts a little bit more because on tape he looks fast. He gets to everywhere he needs to get to. So you're starting to wonder that, hey, maybe this kid really is kind of a step ahead mentally, Ed Reed type, right? But one thing that I didn't like, and I have it in my notes, I wrote it in my report, is that he seemed like a guesser to me, where he didn't know what was truly going on, but he took a guess because he's caught out of position against the run, especially just bad angles, kind of playing a lot of catch-up football in pursuit. So it seems to me that he doesn't, but when he guesses right, it looks great. But if he has a run, it's almost like one of these guys that you put in your defensive backfield that you're going to love him one week, you're going to hate him the next week. But the fact that he's proven he can be a playmaker, it does mean something. Sidney Brown is my favorite football player to watch. Just take out grades and analysis. He's my favorite football player to watch. Whatever team he goes to, you'll see exactly what I mean the second you get him on your team. Just an instant energy stick for a defense.
Okay, and then and he had 6 interceptions last year.
Finally turned on the ball skills. Finally.
As part of that really good Illinois secondary. And I mentioned I really like Skinner. That's another guy that I could see as sort of like a hybrid type that you can use in a variety of roles for your back seven. So Robinson, Hickman, and Connor round out your 10. Then Christopher Smith, Owens, Merriweather, Halams, Scott Joseph, Hicks, Torrance, Dean, and Johnson round out your top 20. Who's your home run hitter?
Daniel Scott from California has a really unique skill set, really unique background. A player that I think can actually play some nickel if you need to. Probably some of the best instincts, especially of the group on this back end. Was used in a lot of different roles, and just it's the traits that scare you a little bit. He's kind of short-armed, maybe not have the breakaway speed, but he was a late invite to the Senior Bowl this week. I think an injury popped up, and he got the invite. And I think Nagy posted out that a lot of scouts wanted to see him in that environment. So I think there's some interest in him because he comes across very smart and dependable and versatile.
All right. Who are you concerned with the most in the top 10?
Antonio Johnson from Texas A&M, a guy that was probably at the top of the safety stack. If you asked me for a stack in the fall, he's probably number 1, 2, or 3 the entire time.
I bumped him at number 2.
And a lot of people do. And I don't see the suddenness to stick. He played a lot in the nickel, and a lot of people are saying he could play nickel in the NFL. I don't see the anticipation or agility, change of direction to cover guys, slot receivers, and he doesn't play as big as he's listed against tight ends. He's just a guy that simply can line up in a lot of different places, but I don't see him like Brian Branch, right, standing out in any of the areas. Sometimes I think we weigh versatility too much. Like, all right, he's, again, jack of all trades, master of none. And, that whole Texas A&M program was a letdown in 2022.
Oh, yeah.
Maybe he was just a product of a poor environment, maybe. But I just didn't see what I was hoping to see in 2022.
All right.